Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome to another episode of the Gaming Aroma podcast with me, your weary host KDB, gaming chat fueled by coffee. I'm back for another episode to ramble at you, to talk some rubbish, talk some nonsense. It is stormy outside. I'm in the middle of Storm Bert. Yeah, it's been a bit of a horrible few days with snow and storm weather, but I found myself with a rare window of time, a window of opportunity to record a podcast, which, to be honest, seems to just be getting rarer. There's a tongue twister. I was coming off the back of some podcasts in September where I was getting back into the swing of stuff and regularly recording for all of my shows. And then work has just been insane. Life has been insane. And I try not to beat myself up about it. I like podcasting. I really like doing it. I like doing it by myself and I like doing it with other people. But it's not my job. It's not a full-time job. It's not even a side hustle. It's just something I do to sort of vent and talk about the things that I enjoy. But I just find myself with less and less free time, and I don't really know how that's happening. But it just seems to be the way things are going. There's always something to sort out. There's always something to do. Late November, which is when I'm recording this, is a very busy time as well because it's both my wife and my son's birthday. It may shock you to hear this, but I'm actually recording this on my son's birthday. My wife and he are out at a prior engagement, which I'm not required at. We've done birthday celebrations this morning and early part of the day, and I've got like an hour and a half where I don't need to do any well, that's bollocks. There's definitely cleaning and chores that need to be done, but yeah, I'm sacking that off for today. I've got like an hour and a half where I've got potentially nothing to do. But there is stuff I've got to do. There's other podcasts I want to work on. I've got to finish playing Resident Evil 3 for an upcoming First Aid Spray episode. I want to I could just chill and play video games. But I thought, do you know what? I'll jump on because I'm trying to be consistent. Like I say, I like podcasting. The problem is I'm so inconsistent, or I'm consistently inconsistent, right? I have loads of shows. Episodes come out, I get them done one way or another. And if you you put the episodes all in a line, I do regularly put out podcasts, but I just don't regularly put out episodes of the same show, which is completely counterproductive to trying to grow the shows. And yeah, poor David and Alex from Gears Intel. I've been trying to get back together with them for our comeback episode. We haven't done an episode since July. And yeah, we've got it planned what we want to do, but it's just finding the time. David's been away enjoying some weird sport with this like strange shaped ball that they throw around at each other. And yeah, Alex has got other shows as well. David is on another show with Alex. They both write for a video game magazine too. Alex is also a parent. I'm a parent. David's a dog daddy. Everyone's got stuff to do. Lou and I have been talking about some 2K specials, which we were hoping to have done by now, but we basically established that both of us are free some Friday evenings. And that's it. And we just never get to convene. Tapes from the Wapes. I have got some Fallout stuff that I'm supposed to be recording very soon. So yeah, that's coming up. Yeah, it's just finding the time. But I'm trying to be consistent with Gaming Aroma because it's the one I don't really need to plan for. I can just flick on the mic and go, which is what I'm doing now, because there's always gaming news. There's always games I've been playing that I can talk about. Generally, week to week, I've been doing something to do with gaming or reading something about gaming. So yeah, I'm using my precious free hour and a half to sit down and record and edit and upload this episode now before I have to go and pick up my wife and son, and we have to have dinner, and then it's Sunday, so Sunday evenings are, I can't do any podcasting on Sunday evenings. Sunday evenings are, bath time for everybody, not together, but one by one. Get ready for school and a new week at work. I've got so much on at work at the moment because it's the Christmas season and we host a lot of events that I'm involved in. Plus we have stuff going on at the college side of work. So yeah, anyway. I don't really know what the point of that intro was, other than me just kind of reflecting on the fact that I have such little free time. I could probably be using it to do something a bit more productive, but no, I'm sitting down talking into a microphone so my voice can enter your ears. But yes, as I've said before, I know there's a few people that listen to this, a few diehards. I've got like two or three diehard listeners. Yeah, and a couple of my recent episodes, they've done some of my biggest numbers. So I'm trying not to let Gaming Aroma slip. I think I said at the start it was going to be like a bi-weekly thing. And yeah, so I think this counts. I think my last episode was 2 weeks ago. So I'm still on track. Anyway, hope everybody is okay. We're getting to that time of year where we go out less, we stay home, we watch movies, eat food, play video games. And because who wants to go out? Who wants to go out when it's cold and dark and horrible and Storm Bert is trying to tear apart your garden, which is what he's been doing to me. I've gendered a storm there. I'm not sure how that works. They are referred to as he's and she's in the news, which is kind of weird, but yeah. It's getting to a more dark, and you just want to hunker down and do things you enjoy and things that make you feel good. One thing I did have to mention, because I heard it at the start of the test of this podcast. Regular listeners to my show may have noticed I keep getting this weird little audio glitch where I'm recording and it's like it cuts out like not frames, like a few milliseconds of audio from me speaking. And I really have no idea what it is. I've been trying to search online. I've been searching on Reddit. Nobody seems to be having this problem. It's a problem that has persisted for a few months now. Sometimes, and it just kind of comes and goes, and there's no real rhyme or reason to it. I've tried different cables. I've tried a different microphone. Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on. I think it's probably an operating system issue. So sorry about that. Hopefully it doesn't cause too much disruption for you, but I'm continuing to try to get to the bottom of it. It might be a software issue, and I might just have to switch to recording the podcasts just using a simpler piece of software maybe. So then there's less for the software to get confused about. Anyway, video games, what's going on? I'm definitely going to do a Game of the Year episode of this show, and I'm hoping to have a few like inserted guests on that episode. So do stand by for that. I mention it because it is Game of the Year season. The Game Award nominees have been announced. Firstly, the Game Awards. Not a fan. I know it's really trendy to say that. I mean, it's no surprise. Everyone knows they're kind of nonsense. It's just a big advertising show. I think the last 2 years in a row have been shocking. Was it the previous? No, it might have been the Summer Games Fest where there was not a single woman on stage, right? That was crazy. And then the Game Awards, the previous year, they got shit for cutting off Christopher Judge, and then last year they got shit for cutting off everyone else, and sort of giving awards off screen, and it wasn't really an award show, and they gave a weird amount of stage time to Kojima and somebody else, so it wasn't great. There was one thing at the Game Awards last year, and that was great, that was more than great. It was one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life, and that was the live performance of Herald of Darkness from Alan Wake 2, which featured the real-life old gods of Asgard, or what they called Poets of the Fall. Is that right? Old gods of Asgard. They are... Yeah, Poets of the Fall. So that's the real-life band, and the old gods of Asgard are the Remedy version of them. So it featured them, Alan Wake actors, Ilka Vili. Oh my God, who's the English voice actor? Matthew Peretta, that's it. I love those guys, and I blank on his name. That's an age thing. Sam Lake was on stage as well. And yeah, they basically did a live, performance. Oh, Mr. Door was there, David Harwood, because obviously he's in the song. They did a live performance of Herald of Darkness, which I remember when, after the game came out, everybody was like, this needs to happen. Like, if we're not doing a live performance of this, what are we even doing here with the Game Awards? And they made it come true. And I listened to Sam Lake on a podcast saying that when they asked, I think, Keighley and the Game Awards people approached them and said, look, we want you to do this. And I think Sam Lake was like, this is not possible. I think he said no at first, and they had a chat about it, but then he thought about it and said, yes, we could do it. And they pulled it together really, really quick. The band, the band weren't playing live. They were singing live, I think. Everybody was doing the vocals live. But obviously they did the choreography and the live dancing. And for those who've not played Alan Wake 2, it's from a chapter in the game where there's a musical number. And I'll kind of leave it at that. But that, the Game Awards last year, I don't care about anything else that happened at them, really. That performance was one of the best things in video game history ever, as far as I'm concerned. I can't think of another time where something like that has happened, where they do musical performances of music from games all the time, but to bring effectively the characters from the game to a theatrical live theatre performance of it in costume, doing the choreography, that's never happened. I mean, it probably has, right? It must have happened in gaming somewhere, and I just don't know, or I've never seen it. But it certainly slipped my mind. It was certainly not as forgettable, not as memorable as this. So yeah, Game Awards generally shit. But last year, yeah, that I listen to that song all the time as well. I listen to it in the gym, and I just like watching the video on YouTube. Yeah, God bless them, because that live performance was amazing. But what won Game of the Year? Baldur's Gate 3 won Game of the Year last year. Fair enough. Lots of people liked it. I've still not played it because I know it's like a 100-hour undertaking. And as I mentioned at the start of this episode, I don't have any free time to do anything. So, yeah. Game Awards nominations for this year have been announced. I'm not going to go through all of them here. I just wanted to give a quick few thoughts on Game of the Year. So the nominations are, in case you don't know, for Game of the Year: Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Metaphor ReFantazio. What a load of bollocks, I suppose, is one way to put it. Okay, that's being harsh. Of course that's being harsh. There's obviously great games on here. And I am, for those that don't know, obviously overjoyed that BALATRO is nominated, because that is, I don't know if that is my Game of the Year yet, but it's definitely in my top 4 without question. Other ones, Black Myth and Metaphor feel like they're in there because of sales, right? I've heard really good responses to them, but I've not heard them. Game of the Year feels like the nominations should be things that kind of captivate not the entire, or at least captivate deep corners of the gaming community and wide corners of the gaming community, but really impact the sort of the culture of gaming, if you like. Or what's that word? What am I trying to think of? They become like a zeitgeist thing, right? I'm eloquent. I know words and stuff. And Metaphor and Black Myth, no. Don't get it. Don't get it at all. Metaphor, from what I understand, is just Persona again, right? It's like, yeah, cool, more of the same. It's not the same IP, but it's Persona. So, and then Black Myth, Wukong. I mean, I haven't played it. It's not out on Xbox, and I don't have a PC. Again, I've heard is decent, but Game of the Year? Don't really understand that. I know it had massive numbers because of its popularity in China. Astrobot, I'm completely fine with that being on there. Nice little, beautiful little game. I've not played it. I would love to play it. It's the sort of game that almost convinces you to buy a PS5. My son is desperate to play it as well. Looks beautiful, looks wonderful. Perfectly happy with Astrobot being on there. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I've heard exclusively that while a very good game in general, most people got really annoyed at the repetitiveness of it, and it fell off by the end, and nobody was really calling it the game of the year. I've seen a couple of like hardcore Final Fantasy people say, yeah, nothing else has been better, and it's like, I'm sure it's, competently, like, in terms of competence and technically it's a fantastic game, but this is a sequel to remake, which I think to me feels like that captured the zeitgeist way more than this did. Metaphor is obviously brand new and a hot topic, right? It's just, is this recency bias? Don't really get that. And as I said, it's just Persona again. And then the two, as I mentioned, BALATRO, I was praying for BALATRO to get its, I was going to say Just Desserts there. There's a Hot Fuzz reference. Not Just Desserts. Recognition. It's just deserved. And it did. I can't actually fucking believe it did. To me, BALATRO and Astrobot are the only two that deserve to be on this Game of the Year list. Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. What are we doing here? What are we doing? I know that they've, from what I understand, apparently expansions have always been eligible for Game of the Year, and they've re-clarified that that's always been the case, but nobody else has been talking about that in the past. Like, this is, everyone's confused about this because it's never come up in this way before. At least if it has, not in such a way that it has for Shadow of the Erdtree. And you might argue it's because, well, Shadow of the Erdtree is so amazing, and that's why. It's cheating. It's cheating. Look, we just need DLC and expansion categories. It takes nothing away from Shadow of the Erdtree. I'm preaching to the choir, probably. I'm sure most people listening to this think that. There is this idea that, well, anything that releases this year and can be considered a gaming experience can get nominated. And I sort of get that, but I don't think that's the consensus. I just don't believe that is. It's like review scores. It's like when people say, yeah, a 7 is a good game. Everyone, who really knows their stuff knows that 7s can be awesome games, can be really great games. That's not the consensus. And a number 7 on something is a dead game to many people. A number 7 will kill a studio. So, and I feel like that's the consensus is DLC and expansions should not be illegible should not be allowed for Game of the Year. So I think it's dumb. I feel like this is one of those things where, yeah, you can sit and talk about it and you can have a nuanced conversation. Of course you can. And I agree. It's like, yeah, maybe anything that comes out that way could be nominated, but that's just not, I don't think that's how the consensus wants a Game of the Year category to be. Who are they consulting on this? I don't know. I can't remember who votes. Is it publications? Yeah, so there's always going to be biases there. I'm pretty sure some of the game directors vote as well, right? Yeah, so I can't remember the point I was trying to make. Oh, the expansion thing, yeah. It just seems dumb. There is a category for best ongoing, which... let's have a look and see who's in that. Game of the Year nominations 2024. Yeah, there's a category for best ongoing, which I feel like surely it should just be in there. But if that's not clear, and if best ongoing wants to be live service, then cool. Then separate out these expandalones, these expansions, and these DLCs. Because it's just it's ridiculous. Let's have a look. Best ongoing game: Destiny 2, Diablo 4, Final Fantasy 16, Fortnite, and Helldivers 2. Cool, no problem with that. Best Indie. But see, but Balatro's nominated for Best Indie as well. I feel like Best Debut Indie Game it's nominated. If it doesn't win, what else is nominated? Plucky Squire, yeah. I mean, it's a baby's game, that. Pacific Drive, Manor Lords, Animal Well, I've heard is amazing. I've never played it. Best Independent Game, UFO 50 is nominated as well. That's definitely well deserved. So Balatro could win Best Debut Indie and Best Independent Game, but not Game of the Year. But in my opinion, Balatro fully deserves Game of the Year nomination. You know, these should be the Game of the Year category, which I think they could up the numbers for nominations like the Oscars do, right? What have we got? 5? 6? We've got 6. Up it to 8. Up it to 10. If the output has been so good like it was in 2023, they should have done this. Up the number of nominations. I think if you're best in genre and best at what you do, that should kind of sort of earn you a place in Game of the Year. So then you could potentially win 2 awards. Because it's weird if a game wins. So like if Balatro, Astrobot's not considered an indie. That's funny. Because I was going to say if Balatro wins, but then Astrobot. Like, and you get this situation sometimes where like an indie game will win, and it's in a game will win a category, and then it gets beaten in another category by a game that it beat in the other category that it's in. So it's kind of weird. It's weird how it all works, and I'm sure there's a method to the madness, but yeah, best game direction, Balatro's up there as well. How many? That is awesome. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's got 7 nominations. 6. Anyway, it's got plenty of nominations. So if it doesn't pick up 1 or 2 of those, that is an absolute robbery. But yeah, as I said, I'm not going to go through all of these because it's mostly boring. Game of the Year, I think, is an absolutely ridiculous list. But then on the flip side, the hypocritical side of me is like, yes, Balatro absolutely deserves it. Award ceremonies are generally dumb. I think it's, you know, there's a lot of bias. There's a lot of political voting. And this is just, yeah. I don't really know what they achieve. I watched a Charlie Brooker interview the other night. It's quite a recent one. And he was talking about something that gave him an idea for one of the Black Mirror episodes. And he said it was when, like, documentarians win awards for creating a documentary about something horrific. So they will, like, you know, there's best documentary gets nominated at an award show, and there's all these powerful, moving stories, you know, maybe about death, war, abuse, or, you know, whatever, these horrific topics. And then people win awards, and they're like sort of bounding up to the award stage and like, yay, this is a really sad, powerful subject, but well done to all of us. and as they wave their trophy in the air. So yeah, they're just they're weird scenarios. But yeah, what do you think of Game of the Year? Let me know, because I think it's just becoming more nonsense by the minute. Jeff has to do something special, I think, to make people take him seriously now. Everyone discovered all the money that he's charging for trailers and stuff. Hopefully they've listened to the feedback from last year where they got absolutely slated. It could be good. I'm all for an award show if they want to do it, what I would say, properly. But yeah, there's a whole long list of everything that's wrong with the Game Awards, and I hate that I'm interested in watching it. But yeah, I won't watch the whole thing. I'm definitely not staying up late for it. Yes, what's your Game of the Year? I am going to do, like I said, a Game of the Year episode before, either to go out around Christmas or New Year or something like that. I'm away around New Year, so I need to get it done before. I've definitely got a few options floating around in my mind. Obviously, I've mentioned Balatro like 50 times on this episode so far. That's definitely up there for me. What else do we have? There was quite a bit of news this week. Not going to go through it all because I've got a couple of other little things I want to touch on today. Xbox Cloud Gaming now allows you to stream games you own. I think they've announced it. So for people that don't know, if you have Game Pass Ultimate, you get access to Xbox Cloud Gaming, which lets you basically stream every game that's on Game Pass. And a lot of things people have been asking for is we want to be able to stream the games that we own. I do still use Cloud intermittently, not as much as I used to, but it seems like it's getting better and better again, which is good. And knowing that my console is often in use, or the TV is in use, my console's in use by my son, or TV's in use by my family. Like, I like the option to be able to cloud stream, and on phone and laptop and stuff. So the first list of 50 games are here, and I have a grand total of 1 of these games. So that really pissed me off. And that game is BALATRO. But what's funny about this is this now means that BALATRO is like a play anywhere game. So before, like, BALATRO's out on mobile, and it's out on Switch. It's out on everything now. But I mean, I wanted to be able to do like you can with some games where, like, between console and mobile, I wanted to pick up my BALATRO save and then play it on my phone. And there was no way to do that because I couldn't stream BALATRO. But now I can. So that's really good. And I do like this. I think, Cloud is a funny one. It gets a lot of shit, and rightly so. It's a sort of technology. It's an additive technology and service that's still figuring itself out, but it's definitely here to stay. The viability of it, I think, is definitely up for question in terms of how much it costs to run all this stuff. But I just think it feels like, despite the laws of physics that will stop it from probably ever being the main way to interact with gaming, it will definitely become a more widely used thing. And from what I understand, it already is. A lot of the TV app stuff is very popular in certain areas, in certain regions. I'm using Cloud a lot, and I think as an additive, it is pretty awesome. And to know that maybe soon all of my games that aren't on Game Pass, that I have in my collection, that I've bought and that I own, I could stream them as well. There's nothing bad to say about that. So this is really good, and it's something that's been coming for a while. It's one of those things. It's like, oh yeah, it's finally here, and then it's, oh shit, the list is really underwhelming. But from what I understand, is they've got to work out deals with all the publishers and all that boring stuff. So I'm just double checking the list again. Yeah, so I've got BALATRO. There's things like Cyberpunk on here, load of Final Fantasy games, which is funny because it's like, everyone's on about the relationship between Xbox and Square, which I think Square obviously are more pissed off with Sony these days because they feel they aren't hitting the numbers they want with Final Fantasy being exclusive. And to see Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 all together, Final Fantasy, was that 15, 14 online? It just feels like they've gone, yep, sort this out, get it on there straight away. So that's good to see that relationship continuing to blossom or return back to what it was before. There's NBA game on here, Stray, The Crew Motorface, WWE 2K24, Mortal Kombat 1, Metro Exodus, Hades, Dredge, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, there. Banishers Ghosts of New Eden is a game that I have still not played, but I am absolutely desperate to. It sounds awful to say, but I'm waiting for a sale. I think it's still £60. I'm not paying £60 for it. It does look nice, and I'm a firm believer in that you should kind of pay. You should, if you want something, you should pay for it. From everything I've heard about it, it's not worth that. Maybe they've why does it cost that much? That's how much it costs to make, and they feel they need to price it at that to get their money back. Possibly. That's not always the case. They don't need to price things this much if they feel that they can get the sales numbers. So they've priced it that high because maybe they thought they wouldn't get the sales numbers, and they've shot themselves in the foot. Who publishes it? Banishers, Ghosts of New Eden. I forget. Don't Nod is the developer. Focus Entertainment, of course. So Don't Nod. What else do they do? Jusant, Tell Me Why, Life is Strange, Vampire. Yeah, I've heard that Banishers is very similar to Vampire, which I did quite like. I never finished. I only played it for a few hours. But yeah, I've heard that Banishers is really good. It's like a sleeper hit that's overlooked, but I'm not paying 60 quid for it. So yeah, my point is, this is cool. Finally, the games that you own have come to streaming, so I do really like to see that. Just scrolling down the headlines here in quotes. We're really sorry. Microsoft Flight Sim 2024 head acknowledges launch login issues. Yeah, just quickly on that. I absolutely fucking love Flight Simulator, and Flight Simulator 2020 soaked up so much of my time. Like apparently many people, I was really pumped for 2024, and it's just launched to absolute an unplayable nature. Not because the game is broken, because it's a mostly online game, and a lot of the stuff streams in, and their servers crashed because they had too many players. And I have seen people kind of criticize and say, well, don't do a game that streams all the stuff in. I want it on the disc. And I get that, but where I disagree in this case with Flight Simulator, because Flight Simulator is exactly the type of game where you want to try out this kind of technology, because we all want games to be bigger and better, within their own right for what they are. We want them to serve their purpose in the best way possible. For Flight Simulator, it makes sense to develop technology that can let you fly around the world seamlessly in this lifelike recreation of the world. I would imagine the only way to do that is to go the route they are going, which is to pull in satellite data, pull in Google data, and stream stuff to your console. And you need an internet connection. Despite it being a single-player game, it's online. And it's like, yeah, that comes with the territory of this game, and that's the agreement we go into. So I don't want Resident Evil to start doing that tomorrow, because I don't want an open world Resident Evil game, really. Or at least if I want one, I've not seen what it could be that would make me want it yet, if that makes sense. That was a sentence, right? But Flight Simulator, yeah, I want able to fly anywhere in the world. And they say, yes, the only way we can do that is to stream it all in. Or do it what they did with 2020, which is you have to download everything, which takes up like 200 gigabytes of space on your console. If you can avoid that and make it better by using streaming technology, cool. So they've underestimated how many people wanted to play the game. Kind of naively, I think, because the trailers all made it look incredible. So Flight Simulator went from this little niche community, although it's not niche, millions of people play it. Is millions niche? I don't know. But yeah, they went from millions to, I guess, 10 million people tried to play it. I don't know. Too many people tried to play it, and I was one of them. And so by the time Tuesday rolls around, that's a week from launch. I will give it a go then. I've tried over a couple of games, and it's still over a couple of days, and it's still unplayable, which is really sad. It looked awesome. So if they can iron all that out, great. And I'm perfectly happy with them, as I say, using Flight Simulator as the crash test dummy for this kind of tech, and seeing if they can make it work. And if they can smooth it out and sort their servers out, and they can make it work, great. It's case in point for using this method for games that it might make sense for. Dare I say, Grand Theft Auto. It's like, maybe that's the kind of game where something like this could work as well, if they wanted to go bigger and bolder. Not every game needs it. We can always have the self-contained games. I just mentioned Resident Evil there. I don't need the open world Resident Evil. But flying around the world, yeah, give me the entire planet and stream it to my console. My internet's fast enough. More people are getting faster internet. Fast internet is a human right, by the way. That's coming along. Eventually we'll get to a place where most people have fast enough internet to deal with it. Same with cloud gaming, where it's a bit more viable as an additive solution. This is just a new way to make games that may require this route. So yeah, good luck to the Flight Simulator team. What else? before I move on to some other stuff I've been doing, a new trailer for the Minecraft live action movie has been released. The first trailer looked like absolute dog crap. The second one I thought looked better. I'm not a fan of the style at all, but in terms of honouring the game, very recently, I'm kind of new to Minecraft, and I'm new to Minecraft through my son. My son is currently obsessed with Minecraft, and I don't mind him playing it because he plays in creative mode and he has like all unlimited resources and stuff. And the way he's been methodically building stuff and learning about organising and planning, I can't fault it really. So I might talk about Minecraft a bit more another day, but just Minecraft is very present in my life at the moment, and he is ready to combust at seeing the movie, and he watched the trailer, and this is for him. It's not really for me, but what I will say is from what I know about Minecraft and what I was seeing in this new trailer, they are honouring the game very well. Ignoring the style, which I think is ugly and looks almost AI-like, AI produced in some cases. The actions of like block building and cooking and like going places, it just they've done the weird stuff of how Minecraft looks and works. They're just translating it on screen without even worrying about if it looks silly, and that seems like it's all part of the fun of it at the moment. So that second trailer looked good, and Minecraft, yeah, I recently learned it's the biggest selling game of all time. It's like one of the biggest things on earth, and I'm starting to see why. I've been a, shall we say, Minecraft denier for many years, but yeah, I think once you see its purpose, it makes sense. And I'm very happy my son's getting something out of it. So, and I was going to say there's violence. There's not violence in Minecraft. There's sort of violence in Minecraft, but the less gun violence stuff he's playing or seeing, yeah, better. Minecraft is peaceful and chill, and yeah, I'm cool with it. I'm a convert. Cool. News. Yeah, there's a few other things, but I'm going to leave it there for the news and just quickly talk about what I have been playing, which might bore some people. Actually, before I talk about what I've been playing, today, the excursion out for my son's birthday, we went to Insanity Gaming in Poole, which is used to be a retro gaming shop, but it is now, I think they struggled to make that business work, so they effectively converted the shop into a retro arcade, cafe, bar and grill, if you like. And it's pretty damn good. It was £8 for an hour, and all the machines are obviously on free play. There's a range of stuff. There's a couple of like what I would call amusement machines, but most of them are classic games. Like classic arcade machines, like Turtles in Time was in there. There's Tekken, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom, Pac-Man, Super Mario 3, Streets of Rage. They had retro consoles set up. Well, they had old consoles and they had new Xboxes and new PlayStations set up as well. They had obviously the big, more amusement ones with like the cars that you sit in. They had Mario Kart. They had Sega Ferrari, or Sega F50, I think it's called. They had Star Wars Pod Racer, a few pinball machines, some retro Simpsons games, and yeah, you can't beat a good arcade, man. Like, we went to another one earlier in the year, which was shit, because it was just almost purely what I say amusement ones. There wasn't really any gaming IP. It was more just like air hockey, and which this place had air hockey, a Sonic one, which is fine, but yeah, more, like the ticket machines where you get the tickets and you get a prize. It was more like that, and that was just boring. It had Angry Birds, which my son liked. This one was pure gaming, and just the layout was good. The design was good. Like on the walls, they had cartridges stuck to the walls, which raised my eyebrows. I was like, what? You're just wasting these games. But I presume that they're broken games, because no gaming fan who's of sound mind would stick a retro cartridge to a wall like that. And loads of like classic gaming artwork and box artwork just stuck to the walls. So yeah, we had a whale of a time there this morning. Got a few rounds of Tekken 2 in on the machine, which was cool. Played the Simpsons games, played some Mortal Kombat, played Guitar Hero as well. They had obviously arcade version of Guitar Hero, which has now made me come home and think, well, I just need to buy Guitar Hero now, so we've got it in the house, because we currently don't have a copy. So yeah, I wanted to mention that and give a shout out to arcades. So I guess this falls under what I've been playing, right? It's that category. So I'm looking forward to going back there. Big shout out to Insanity. I'm going to post a couple of pictures and video clips on my Threads account at KD_Buck. Don't really post on Twitter anymore, as I said in the last episode. And what else have I been playing? Well, what haven't I been playing? So obviously I did try to play Microsoft Flight Simulator. That didn't go well. I booted up Stalker 2, which I've been massively pumped for, and I realised, as amazing as it is, this is going to require a lot of my time. So I've parked Stalker 2. I'm going to get to it. I've seen some stuff online about it having bugs and stuff which are going to get fixed, but I think generally lots of people are really loving it. Yes, so I am still playing Death Stranding. I think I'm at chapter 5. That's a game I'm just kind of picking up when I know I've got an evening where I can zone out with it. I've been playing Death Stranding, and the cutscenes, they're still present, but you know, I like the gameplay enough to persist past all this cutscene nonsense. So I am still playing Death Stranding. And then I'm going to sound like a broken record now, but I'm back to Alan Wake 2. I think I've spoken about Alan Wake on the past 3 episodes in a row. As I mentioned previously, the first one is potentially becoming one of my favourite games of all time. I was just leading back to playing Alan Wake 2 after playing that DLC and then going back to Alan Wake 1. I think I've played it 10 times across the OG Xbox version and the remastered in the past month or so. I've gone back to Alan Wake 2 to finally experience the final draft version, which I've heard just has like little extra bits of dialogue and stuff, or VO, and I don't know if it has different manuscript pages. I don't actually know all the ins and outs of the final draft version, but I'm just playing it myself because I want to re-experience it. And my God, so yeah, I'm 3 chapters in again for Alan Wake 2, and this stuff is incredible. I'm gonna keep talking about it because yeah, it's so rich in stuff to hang on to if you like the story stuff. And in the way that Death Stranding just makes you sit through a load of cutscenes, Alan Wake is a bit more explore it and figure it out for yourself. And the first time I played Alan Wake 2, I wasn't a massive fan of the case board stuff where you put all the pictures on the board. I feel like when you have more context for the whole thing, and it's not, because it's quite a lot to take in, when you're a bit more briefed on it all, I've actually really loving that the second time through, because this is only the second time through I'm playing Alan Wake 2. I played it once through. I think I jumped back to a couple of sections to grab some achievements, and then obviously I played the DLC, and now I'm back to the main game. Just a beautiful work of art. Yeah, I'm gonna see it through, and I've been talking about the games I haven't been able to get to and haven't been able to play. Alan Wake 2, I'm play a chapter for an hour, and or halfway through a chapter, and then turn it off and pick it up the next night. Generally, I do my gaming in the evening. It's perfect for that. So it's like just over a year since it released, so that's been long enough for me to forget a lot about it. And because I have played so much Alan Wake 1, I feel like, because I'm an expert on Alan Wake 1 now, it just gives new context to Alan Wake 2 and a new appreciation for it. So going through games multiple times is not something I do much these days because there is so much to play. I do like to play, the classic games, I'll play all the old games that I love over and over again. But when it comes to the new stuff, just replaying new stuff so soon it doesn't really happen because there's always something else to move on to. But I think this is so well made, and I want to experience this final draft version. It feels like I'm playing a new game. No, it just feels like, it doesn't feel like a wasted second of time to play through it again. So Loving it. Taking loads of screenshots with the photo mode as well, which you can produce a lot of cool stuff with. And yeah, going to get to the end of that, and that'll be leading me into closer to Christmas, I expect. And as I said at the start, there's just like, I have cozy games that I want to play around this time of year. This weekend, I've been thinking about my PSP again. Those who know me know that Christmas time and the Christmas holidays, the Nintendo 3DS and the PSP come out, and they are like, I just like have them by my side quite a lot and play those games, because between snacks and drinks and seeing family, like there's not really time to sit down in front of the console too much. Generally the TV's on, or music is on, or family around, and people are playing with gifts or something. Just have the PSP there, just play something fun on the PSP, play some Wipeout, play some Metal Gear Acid, play some Sonic Rivals. Is that what it's called? Sonic Rivals? Play some Ridge Racer. Might pick up a couple of old PSP games, and yeah, just I cannot wait for that. So it's creeping back into my into my mind, because my internal clock knows that time of year is coming up. Yeah, so cozy season approaches, and it's game of the year season. What is it now? 24th of November. Yeah, there'll be definitely one more episode before I do a game of the year episode, I reckon. So at least a couple more before the year is out, and hopefully I get to some of my other shows. I really wanted to do the Gears Intel one, for those of you that might listen to it. But we are, for First Aid Spray, playing Resident Evil 3 because we're doing a revisit of Resident Evil 3. I think it's an anniversary. Can't remember. I'm an idiot. I think sometimes on First Aid Spray, we revisit games that the podcast has already covered, but with different panel members. And because I wasn't on the original RE3 episode, I'm getting to do it this time. So yes, I've been playing through that. Got to get that finished, get some notes together, and looking forward to talking with the Fast Fam about that. In the meantime, come and follow me on Threads for more gaming chat. I've been really loving Threads. Realised that if you use the Gaming Threads hashtag, it's that's a good way to get among the conversation in there. Been sharing some shots, sharing game thoughts and stuff on there. I'm not joining Blue Sky, not a chance in hell, I'm afraid. So sticking with Threads. And yeah, if you enjoyed this episode, please give it a like, give it a subscribe, bump my numbers. As David says, even if you didn't enjoy it, please do that as well. And I will be back soon. Gonna wrap it up. Until next time, stay safe, everybody. See you later, Storm Bert. Bye, 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 bye.